There's a tip that a lot of Nigerians under 50 know.
Because it magically multiplies money.
I know I'm not talking about an actual oink oink pig. I'm talking about Piggyvest. I signed up to Piggyvest about 6 years ago, and since then I've been an avid user, even referring other people, including my mom. Yes, my mom actually uses Piggyvest. Since 2016, when Piggyvest was founded, they've grown significantly, and last year in 2024, they paid out an astounding 835 billion naira to users. But there's a problem. You see, the Perfect Savings app has 3 major ingredients. The first one is trust, and this asks the question, can I trust the platform to give me back my money when I want it? And secondly, is my money safe on the platform? Then there's a second ingredient, which is returns, which basically asks how much extra am I getting on my money and how competitive is that amount compared to what other platforms give me. Number 3, ease of use. Ease of use basically asks how easy is it for me to get around the product and accomplish whatever it is I want to do within the shortest amount of time possible. This is where I have issues with Piggyvest. So in the past several years, there have been a few design updates here and there, but looking at it, I feel like there are still major UX issues within Piggyvest. For example, look at Flex. What in the world is this? You can see that the number here is almost unreadable, and a few other UX issues across the platform, some certain core features that should exist, and some buttons that lead nowhere. So after being pissed for such a long time, I decided to take matters into my own hands and fix it myself, since Piggyvest won't do it. You can pay me to do it properly though. I mean, I'm open to calls. Here is the freshest, most intuitive, cleanest Piggyvest redesign you've come across in recent times. Now, from a philosophical standpoint, Piggyvest has been towing the path of utility above everything else. And what I mean by that is this. When you use Piggyvest, I feel like it has been optimized to give users the ability to perform specific actions, even if they compromise a little bit on how easy it is to perform that action. Priority is the fact that the user can get that particular thing done. But in my opinion, I feel like Piggyvest has matured as a company and as a product and needs to move from that era of utility into an era of clarity, to give users not just the ability to perform actions, but to enable them first understand the interface much more intuitively so they require less help to navigate it, and secondly, have a much more delightful experience getting things done within the product without compromising on user experience. Here's a quick recap on all the things that bug me about Piggyvest currently. First of all, the home screen. So looking at this home screen, I feel like there's a lot of clutter on it. Things that are here that are absolutely unnecessary or irrelevant to me as a user. Most people have never clicked on these things, and in my opinion, I don't think they belong on the home screen. Second thing is this. Now we have savings plans here, but then we also have savings. There's really little difference between this home and this savings tab. I feel like both of them are really almost the same thing and should be merged. Then third, what in the world is this? We've had this for so long, we've gotten used to seeing it, but there's really no use for it. And this is such conspicuous real estate on your navigation for it to not do nothing. So yes, that really bugs me. Secondly, on the home, when you look at all these cards for investment opportunities, you're going to notice that a lot of them are sold out. So why are you bombarding me with opportunities that are sold out? Why are you not prioritizing ones that are open? And I think that needs to change. Then lastly, there's this. But then there's also this. And someone might say, yes, but both of them have slightly different things inside them. They literally have the same icon. Don't you think both of them should be merged? And lastly, Flex. When you go into Flex, there's a counter that's supposed to show you how many withdrawals you've made. But as you can see, you cannot see anything. I mean, you can literally see nothing. And that's horrible for accessibility. Secondly, the UX for labels is really, really bad. I know that not everybody uses labels on Piggyvest, but I use labels very heavily. So right now, the way labels work on Piggyvest, for you to add money to a label, you have to go into that label, hit update label to edit the balance of the label, right? And you're going to do the same thing if you wanted to take money out of a label, then it goes into your available spending balance before you can now withdraw money. That is a very chaotic process for me to get my money out of Piggyvest. And finally, labels look really horrible in dark mode. Let me show you. This is what labels look like in dark mode. For colors that are bright, perfectly fine. But once you start getting into the zone of colors that are a little darker, it becomes really chaotic. For some of these labels, you can practically read nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing. And everything, man, it just should not happen. So yeah, these are the reasons why I'm redesigning Piggyvest. So this is the state of the current navigation we have on Piggyvest. First of all, we have this home button. Next, we have the savings button. Third, we have the flash icon that doesn't do anything. Next, we have invest. Then we have accounts, number 1. Then we have the plus button to add funds. And lastly, we have the account icon, number 2. So that's what we're working with. Now to reconstruct this navigation, first, what I do is this: get rid of this home, move savings over into that position. Next, move invest. Third, get rid of this flash icon and replace it with the plus button. Then, since we had 2 of these account buttons, we consolidate them into one and put that at the top. Then we introduce 2 more icons. The first one is stats, which I'll cover at a later time in the video. And the second one is info. So now that our new nav is ready, let's move to the home screen. So looking at this new home design, you're going to notice something instantly. It looks a lot like Pocket Apps design, and that's intentional because the layout of the application structures things in a manner that's easier to glance at and more aesthetically pleasing. Now, right below this balance cluster area, you're going to see to-dos. They've been shrunken to pills as against the cards that were there before. Personally, I don't think they need to take up a lot of real estate in as much as the actions are important, but there are things that people are less likely to click. So why not prioritize things that they are going to tap on and will lead them to other places within the application. Right under that, savings. You'll observe that the savings cards have been redesigned and they are beautifully color-coded in a much nicer way than what we have currently. The existing design has certain elements in the background, and in my opinion, those elements can affect the readability of the content on the cards sometimes. Also, the balance is clearly indicated as the primary thing on the card, and the returns are also indicated in the top right corner of each card, which the current design doesn't have. Then immediately after that, you have the stats section. Now, one of the major reasons why stats are important is it encourages the user when you see the impact of your savings over time. It makes you feel like you made a good decision and encourages you to continue making that decision. So I think it's something Piggyvest should have. Now, on this stats component, you can click to change the view to a monthly view and a yearly view. Right under that, we have the investments section, and this shows you different investments on Piggyvest with a bar under to show you how full they are. You'll notice that all of the investments being featured here are ones that are available and not ones that are full like are currently being displayed on Piggyvest at the moment. Lastly, we have this info and media section that just features everything that is content related within Piggyvest, and it's placed at the bottom so that it doesn't distract you from all the more important things above. So this component cycles through articles, videos, and even FAQs in a very neat way. So now that we've seen what the new home looks like, let's move to investments. So on the investment screen, you can see the balance of your investments clearly above here. Then right under that, you can see your active investments. Then to the fun part of this redesign, investment calculator. Personally, I feel like this is another low-hanging fruit that Piggyvest has missed for such a long time. And the reason why this is so valuable is because if you give people the ability to see the potential returns on an investment, I believe it increases the chances that they're going to make that investment instead of having them, do the calculation themselves with the returns that's written down on the investment. So the way this investment calculator works is pretty straightforward. You select the investments that you want to make, then the amount that you would like to invest, and it will give you the approximate interest you would earn over a specified period of time. Right now, it says 3 months, but we can drag this to 6 months and it changes incrementally. Now we're done with investments, let's move to quick save. So for quick save, what we have is an interface that is really familiar and is not much different from what we currently have already. But then it has small details here and there that I think add to the experience. First of all, you're going to notice that beside the destination of your savings, you're going to see the return. And depending on how much you want to save, you're going to see the estimated amount you're going to earn within a year, calculated by the percentage return on each one of these options that you select. Secondly, for neat freaks, people like me, who might want to distribute this money into pockets, aka labels, I prefer to call them pockets because I think it just makes sense. You can tap on this button and you see the different pockets you have. Then you can tap on each of them and define the amount that you want to add into those pockets. So when you hit save, it just goes into it without any other additional effort from you. But this is very, very much optional as indicated on this CTA. So after quick save, next up is start. So the thoughts behind start generally is to have a place where data lives within Piggyvest. The fact that there's no place where data is housed on a financial platform like Piggyvest just doesn't make sense to me. Personally, I like to go back and track things like withdrawals, deposits, interest I've earned over certain periods of time. And currently, there's no interface to do that on Piggyvest. And that is why I included this stats page to this redesign. So this stats section houses data. That is the entire purpose of it. And when you scroll through, you can see things like earnings, deposits, withdrawals, portfolio distribution. And you can tap through here to see the actual percentage value of each one of them and how much they currently have within them. Now for earnings, you can select the source of the earnings that you want to see the stats for. Also, you can switch from month view to a year view. And for other data points like deposits, you can select the time frame that you want to view the stats for. And I personally think this is really useful for people who like to keep detailed accounts of their finances. It just makes sense to give them this option. So on the next tab, we have reports. Every now and then we get these WIEC notifications, which makes a lot of sense. Having those financial roundups, that is serious data that I want to reference at a future point, just to see growth and just generally see what my finances has been like over a period of time. And all of that data is housed in this report section. So you can see WIEC for previous years, and you can see monthly reports for all the years that you have used Piggyvest. You can tap into each one of them to view in detail. Right next after stats is info on the nav. And the purpose of introducing this info tab is to house everything that is content related. Now on Piggyvest, that section on the home that we moved lower, it contains things like videos, articles, FAQs, and just everything that's content related. So info is the section where all of that is housed. So the info section is pretty straightforward. You have 4 tabs, with one that shows featured items, the next that shows media, another that shows blog, and another for help. So you can see on this featured tab, we have a combination of all the different things that are housed within this info section, and you can tap through the different tabs to see what each of them have and to get help. Now to the big dog of this redesign, Flex. The reason why Flex is really important to me is because that is my top used feature on Piggyvest. And I think that's because it gives you 4 withdrawals, which for me makes sense since I don't make all my withdrawals in a month at once. And the other thing I really like about Flex is labels. It gives me the ability to categorize my money, separate concerns so that things are not mixing up. There's clear definition everywhere. And I've already pointed out the issues that Flex has. So this is the redesign that I'm about to show you. Let's go. So looking at this Flex Naira home, you're going to observe that it follows the same pattern as the savings home screen. And there are certain modifications that just make sense. First, you have interest boldly indicated here instead of tiny and tucked away in a corner where people struggle to look at it. Same with withdrawals. You can clearly see how many withdrawals you've made and the number of withdrawals that you have. And right below that, you have this cluster of CTAs. You have one that says add, which is to deposit money into your Flex Naira. You have the next that says withdraw, which is to transfer money out of Flex and out of Piggyvest. Then you have move, which is new and something I think they should have done long ago. Instead of having people edit the balance of their pockets or labels if they wanted to move money around, then you have this CTA to create a new pocket. So this screen is for a user who doesn't use pockets yet, and this section is just to advertise the pockets feature to them. And when you scroll, you see transactions. Now, this screen showcases that of a person who currently uses pockets. And you can see this gorgeous semi-pie chart that indicates the proportion of all the labels within this account. And you can tap through them to see the balance of each one and to know the percentage amount that it occupies. When you scroll, you clearly see pockets boldly defined with their balances and the percentage values of each one of them. And I love this design and layout a lot more because apart from just being really clean and intuitive and even showing you the percentage amount as well as a bar in the background that indicates the proportion of each label on your account, it also looks really sick in dark mode. And finally, when you scroll to the bottom, your transactions live here. And what's new with this transaction is that apart from documenting withdrawals and deposits, there's a new transaction category that has been introduced here, which is transfers or moves. So now when you move money from one pocket or label to another, it's going to be documented here clearly for you to review later. Now, say you wanted to withdraw from your Flex, all you need to do is tap on this withdraw button and it takes you to this interface for withdrawal. Now, clearly you can see the number of withdrawals you've made at the top and the number of withdrawals you have left. Now, to proceed with your withdrawal, all you need to do is select the source where you want to withdraw from. With this redesign, you now have the ability to withdraw directly from a pocket or a label instead of just restricting withdrawals to your available cash balance. So we can select shopping as our first withdrawal source. Say we wanted to withdraw from a second pocket or label, we can easily do that with this interface. All I need to do is tap on this plus button. Then we select the second place that we want to withdraw from. Let's select salary. And now you can see that it clearly indicates on this interface that you're withdrawing from both shopping and salary. And you can now impute the amount you want to withdraw from each of these balances, and the sum will be shown here. Then you can proceed to withdraw by clicking this button below. So to move money from one pocket or label to another within your Piggyvest Flex Naira balance, all you need to do is tap this button. And this looks very familiar and a lot like the withdrawal interface. And that's intentional. First, you tap this drop down to select the source you want to move from. And for this illustration, let's select shopping. Then you input the amount you want to move from this label. Then you select the destination you want to move to. So we scroll and we select rent. So you can see here that it shows you the new balance of what your shopping label is going to be after this move happens. And it shows you here what the new balance of your rent will be after this move occurs. Then say we wanted to be even more responsible and move more money from our available cash balance into the rent balance, all we need to do is we tap on this button and it pulls up this list of the different labels that we have. Then we select available cash from here and input the amount that we want to move from it. Now that we've seen what the general Flex Naira interface looks like, let's dig into one pocket to see what it actually looks like within it. Here you can see the CTAs clearly laid out with the balance above and transactions below. And I think it just makes sense to have this clearly defined in a way that is easy to understand. Also, you can decide to withdraw from within this label or pocket by just tapping this button. And here you can see that the label you tapped from is pre-selected and the rest of the flow is pretty much the same as what we've seen already. Also, the move flow is very similar. When you tap on it, you see that shopping is already pre-selected and the rest is similar to what we've already seen before. Okay, so that's a wrap on this design exercise. This redesign is definitely one that will make users a lot more excited about using Piggyvest. Now, when users are excited to use a product, it's a no-brainer that they will often come back to that product. And from a business perspective, I think that is what everyone is looking for, right? When people are happy with a product, when people are excited to use it and are deriving significant value, it's just natural for them to go online and say good stuff about it, which has a ripple effect of attracting even more people to the product. And to me, it's a win-win for everybody. People get to save more, Piggyvest makes more money from more users. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share with someone else you think will find this very useful, and subscribe to my channel. And that's a wrap for today. Peace. See you on the next one.